I ask all of you to wait and hear the truth before you label or condemn me. Don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent.
One of the sheriffs came to me and said, you know, you've got the best seat in the house. And I said, well, why? And he said, because you're sitting right behind Michael, and when we find him guilty, we're going to get him out of there so fast that your head's going to spin. These people had already decided that Michael was guilty, and they were sure of it, so sure that they had an exit plan to get him out of there.
Superior Court of the State of California for the County of Santa Barbara, Santa Maria Division. The people of the State of California plaintiff versus Michael Joe Jackson defendant. Case number 1133603. Verdict. We, the jury, in the above entitled case, find the defendant not guilty of lewd act upon a minor child as charged in count 4.
Out here, outside the courtroom, the cries and cheers became louder and louder with each finding of the jury that Michael Jackson was not guilty. Michael Jackson himself, the first time we've seen him since being acquitted on these charges, just walking through the court, not an emotion on his face.
Not guilty, not guilty, 10 times not guilty for Michael Jackson. In California, a dramatic conclusion to one of the most sensational trials in entertainment history.
That Tom Sneddon be indicted for falsifying evidence in the Michael Jackson trial. And I was a witness. I was right there in the courtroom, watched him get caught, false fingerprints evidence, the phone evidence that they tried to create. I mean, this guy literally falsified evidence. And it's on the record. And there's millions of Jackson fans hate Santa Barbara County.
I'm not going to look back and apologize for anything we've done. We did a very conscientious, thorough job, as did the Sheriff's Department, investigating this case.
The doctors are saying there's no chance. Michael said, I will not have that. You bring him to me, and we will coat him with love. And not only did he extend love to him, but to Star, Davelin, and me, a complete family.
He told me, listen, I need you to get better. You are going to get better. He told me, I need you to eat up all the little cancer cells just like Pac-Man. Go around eating like Pac-Man. I never forgot that.
Not sick at all. No more cancer. All gone. All gone.
Taller than me now.
When they told him he was going to die. Isn't that great?
They told my parents to plan for his funeral because there was no chance.
They told your parents to plan for his
funeral.
But isn't that precisely the problem, that when you actually invite children into your bed, you never know what's going to happen?
But when you say bed, you're thinking sexual. They make that sexual. It's not sexual. But we're going to sleep. I tuck them in. I put a little music on, and do a little storytelling. I read a book. It's very sweet. Put the fireplace on. We give them hot milk. You know, we have little cookies. It's very charming. Very sweet.
Sure.
It's what the whole world should do.
He made Michael Jackson think this was going to be a positive documentary, and Michael trusted him partly because he had worked with Princess Diana, who Michael revered because of her work with children, with animals. Bashir had done a biography of her and had apparently gotten her trust to do that biography, severely influenced Michael Jackson, but it was the biggest mistake he ever made. And he did not expect Mr. Bashir to come out with the product that he came out with. And my opinion, watching it, was that Mr. Bashir was very cleverly and very maliciously manipulating him down a path of destruction.
It's about bringing out what you're about. I'm not trying to embarrass you. I know you don't want to be accused of being, you know, but man, when people hear that story, they haven't got a clue. The story of your life. But I was here yesterday, and I saw it, and it's nothing short of a spiritually kind thing.
He does it all the time.
I know, but I've told him. I know.
A lot of people see it, but
they never talk about it.
That's why he doesn't even do interviews anymore. They twist everything. From the moment I met him, I mean, I remember, how can people be so cruel? I read an article and I was crying, and he goes,
It's disgusting. Well, we ain't doing that here.
This was supposed to be a documentary to tell the truth, everything. And I mean, who would bring somebody to his life and open up all the way and wanted to lie about it? You know, if you want to lie about it, don't even do it. He didn't have to do this documentary. Nobody forced him to do this documentary.
It's so hard for me to imagine that Michael opened up the gates not only to Neverland, but to his heart, to Bashir. And I really thought that Bashir got it.
I think all of us were shocked and deeply saddened by the news today. Certainly when I made the documentary, there was a small part of that which contained a controversy concerning his relationship with other young people. But the truth is that he was never convicted of any crime. I never saw any wrongdoing myself. And whilst his lifestyle may have been a bit unorthodox, I don't believe it was criminal. And I think the world has now lost the greatest entertainer it's probably ever known.
Greed, money. Somewhere greed got in there and somebody, I can't quite say, but it has to do with money. It's Michael Jackson. Look what we have here. We get money out of this. That's exactly what happened.
Why today, and I know you say it's money, but who? I mean, why would he turn around and say, Michael Jackson sexually molested me, if it weren't true?
Because parents have power over children. They feel they have to do what their parents say. But money is the root of all evil, as you know. The love of money is the root of all evil. And this is a sweet child, and to see him turn like this isn't him. This is not him. I love to do things for children And I try to imitate Jesus, and I'm not saying I am Jesus. I'm not saying
we're clear on that.
Right. I'm trying to imitate Jesus in the fact that he said to be like children, to love children, to be as pure as children are, and to make yourself as innocent and see the world through eyes of wonderment and the whole magical quality of it all. And I love that. And we have we'll have like 100 bald-headed children here who they all have cancer, and they're running around and they're enjoying themselves, and it just makes me cry happy tears that I was able to do that for them. You know?
One of the things that really impressed me the most, is that there are built inside the walls here beds for some of those sick children who come. And what I realized when I saw that is that you have to be a person who really cares about children to build it into your architecture.
Yes. We have children that come who are intravenously, they're very sick and they're bedridden, and they
can't sit up.
Right, they can't sit up. And these beds, they're hospital beds. You push a button, they move up and they move down, and they're able to watch. We have a magic show. We show the current films, if it's cartoons, anything, you know, and anything so they can escape to that world of magic that they don't get a chance to experience, the world that I was deprived of.
What is your response to the allegations that were brought by the district attorney in Santa Barbara that you molested this boy?
Totally false. Before I would hurt a child, I would slit my wrists. I would never hurt a child. It is totally false. I was outraged. I could never do something like that. I've helped many, many, many children, thousands of children. Cancer kids, leukemia kids. This is one of many.
And we are going to try our best to make a case, okay, a criminal case. We're going to try our best. But you need to understand that we're going to need your cooperation. He grabbed me. He grabbed you? Where did he grab you at? Private area. He grabbed you in your private area? Michael Jackson has done wrong. Michael Jackson has done wrong to you and to your mother, and his friends that work for him or his employees have done wrong. What Michael Jackson has done to you, okay, he's the bad person, not you.
You watch that video and you realize this man has jumped to a conclusion without any investigation at all. That itself showed bias on the part of law enforcement. I think if you also looked at his demeanor, you didn't see someone who was nervous or shy or upset about what he claimed had happened to him.
Wait. Before you start filming. Before you start filming.
Okay. Ernest? Okay, we're showing search warrant on the house here. Okay.
Oh, no.
Listen.
Wait. I'm sorry. Wait. Let me read this first.
Yeah, we got an initial problem here. The other gate is closed.
It's open.
Okay, great.
That's a beautiful thing.
You guys need a uniform with you?
Nice.
How you doing? Sheriff's Department, we have a search warrant. You have a manager here? Manager?
Okay, I'm ordering you to open the doors. That way,
And that's on tape, so
No
that you're
problem.
absolved,
He'll
okay?
film.
And I'll also say that otherwise I'll have to break the door.
How did you feel when they went into Neverland? I mean, with the search warrant. I mean, what were they looking for? What did they take?
My room is a complete wreck, totally trashed. And they had 80 policemen in this room, 80 policemen in one bedroom. That's really overdoing it. They made everybody that work at the property, they locked everybody out of the house. They had the whole house to themselves to do whatever they wanted. And they totally took advantage. They went into areas they weren't supposed to go into, like my office. They didn't have search warrants for those places, and they totally took advantage.
70 sheriffs from Santa Barbara County raided Michael Jackson's home. Now, I've seen murder cases, I've seen serial killers have investigations done in their premises with 5 people, with 6 people, with 10 people. Never have I seen this many sheriffs descend on anybody's home in any case. It was all done because of who he was, and they knew this was going to be a worldwide event, and frankly, it was very despicable as far as I'm concerned.
We've been ready to do this for some period of time, and I want to clarify that so that you understand that.
Mr. Sneddon was obsessed with taking down Michael Jackson. My understanding is that in the mid-90s, Mr. Sneddon personally traveled to Australia and Canada, and perhaps other countries I'm not aware of, to find witnesses against Michael Jackson. He also arranged to have a website at the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department where they were looking for any witnesses or evidence against Michael.
This man is going to be humiliated beyond belief. He will not believe it from him. And beyond his worst nightmares, sell one more record. If I go through with this, I win big time. I will get everything I want. They will be destroyed forever.
Police sources say the charges involve a 13-year-old boy.
The day that came out, he was stepping on stage in front of like 80,000 people.
It was devastating because he had to go out every day in front of a world and the media who was telling everybody
that
he was a pedophile, but he still went out and had to face everybody.
I suppose the problem for many people is what happened in 1993, or what didn't happen.
What didn't happen?
Just cast your mind back. What was that like when you first heard the allegations that were being made against you?
I was shocked because God knows in my heart how much I adore children.
I have been forced to submit to a dehumanizing and humiliating examination by the Santa Barbara County Sheriff Department and the Los Angeles Police Department earlier this week. They served a search warrant on me which allowed them to view and photograph my body, including my penis, my buttocks, my lower torso, thighs, and any other area that they wanted. They were supposedly looking for any discoloration, spotting, blotches, or other evidence of a skin color disorder called vitiligo, which I have previously spoken about. The warrant also directed me to cooperate in any examination of my body by their physician to determine the condition of my skin, including whether I have vitiligo or any other skin disorder. The warrant further stated that I had no right to refuse the examination or photographs, and if I failed to cooperate with them, they would introduce that refusal at any trial as an indication of my guilt. It was the most humiliating ordeal of my life, one that no person should ever have to suffer. And even after experiencing the indignity of this search, the parties involved were still not satisfied and wanted to take even more pictures. It was a nightmare, a horrifying nightmare. But if this is what I have to endure to prove my innocence, my complete innocence, so be it.
The police photograph that they took of me, there was nothing that matched me to those charges.
There was nothing. There was nothing that concurred.
That's why I'm sitting here talking to you
today.
There was not one iota of information that was found that could connect me.
So when we've heard that there was a marking.
Thank you for your warm and generous support. I love you very much. For decades, the NAACP has stood at the forefront of the struggle for equal justice under the law for all people in our land. They have fought in the lunchrooms of the South, in the hallowed halls of the Supreme Court, and in the boardrooms of corporate America for justice, equality, very dignity of all mankind. Members of the NAACP have been jailed and even killed in the noble pursuit of those ideals upon which our country was founded. None of these goals is more meaningful for me at this time in my life than the notion that everyone is presumed to be innocent. Everyone is presumed to be innocent and totally innocent until they are charged with a crime and then convicted by a jury of their peers. I never really took the time to understand the importance of that ideal until now, until I became the victim of false allegations. And the willingness of others to believe and exploit the worst before they have had the chance to hear the truth. Because not only am I presumed to be innocent, I am innocent. And I know that the truth will be my salvation. I have been strengthened in my fight to prove my innocence by my faith in God and by the knowledge that I am not fighting this battle alone. Together we will see this thing through, and I'm very proud to be here.
We have concluded that because the young boy who was the catalyst for this investigation has recently informed us that he does not wish to participate in any criminal proceeding where he is named as a victim, that we must decline prosecution involving Mr. Jackson.
If you were innocent, why would you pay? To keep it quiet. Why not go into court and fight for your good name?
I'm not allowed to talk on that.
Remember what happened to him 10 years ago. He was humiliated. He went through where somebody was examining him, was photographing him, was having him, humiliating him in the worst way in terms of looking at his private parts and photographing his private parts, and he was subjected to some of the most just intrusive kinds of things that you could ever imagine. I can only try to put myself into that situation and say, look, if money could make that situation go away, maybe that was the calculus then. I don't know, and I don't want to second guess it.
The time has come for Michael Jackson to move on to new business, to get on with his life, to start the healing process, and to move his career forward to even greater heights.
When they settled the case by paying off, right away the next day I called Michael, why did you do that? And Michael said, Mother, I didn't do that. I wanted to fight it to the end. But they told me, the lawyers and things told me, just go on and pay it off and settle it. The reason they did it because Michael was out on tour. They had accused him of this terrible thing, and they didn't want to stop the tour, so they just paid it off.
Finally, in 2004, he got his wish, a criminal trial with Michael Jackson as the defendant.
And it was changed specifically because of the 1993-94 Michael Jackson investigation.
Additionally, an arrest warrant for Mr. Jackson has been issued on multiple counts of child molestation. At this point in time, Mr. Jackson's been given an opportunity to surrender himself to the custody of the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department within a specified period of time.
If Michael Jackson's watching this right now, what's your message? Get over here and get checked in. Jackson himself, I believe, has said that this was all done to try to ruin his new CD that was coming out, or whatever it is he's doing. Like, the sheriff and I really are into that kind of music. But
12:05 today, Michael Jackson was taken into custody. The bail amount on the warrant has been set at $3 million.
Mr. Jackson has been booked into the county jail. He has since been released. He has posted the bail, and he has been given an arraignment date.
What was going through your mind when you're taken into a police station in handcuffs to have a mug shot taken that you know is going to be shown around the world?
They did it to try and belittle me, to try to take away my pride. But I went through the whole system with them, and at the end, I wanted the public to know that I was okay, even though I was hurting.
Prosecution was like a train that left the station. It was not going to slow down. Once they decided to charge Michael Jackson, it almost appeared as if they were going to do whatever it took to make sure this thing got to trial and that they got a conviction.
The felony complaint involves 9 counts. 7 counts of 288A in violation of the California Penal Code, commonly known as child molestation, and 2 counts in violation of Penal Code Section 222 that involves administering an intoxicating liquor to a child for the purpose of committing a felony. Those are the 9 counts. In addition to that, there are several special allegations that have been alleged, some of which all of which the jury will have before them, and the findings could make Mr. Jackson ineligible for probation and could substantially affect the amount of time that he would spend incarcerated if the findings are found true.
I can tell you right now, categorically, that based upon this complaint that has been filed, that Michael Jackson is unequivocally and absolutely innocent of these charges.
Michael Jackson is here, ensconced, ready to fight. He is strong, he is defiant, as well he should be, because he knows, and I know, that these charges are completely and wholly unfounded. He's not running, he's not hiding, he came back immediately when informed about these charges, that these charges not only are categorically untrue, but they're driven by 2 things, money and revenge. And we will prove that. Thank you very much.
Some of the female jurors brought that up when we were talking about it. They said, now, as a female, if somebody pinched me on my breast, I don't think I'd remember that he pinched me 25 times, maybe 30 times, maybe 6 times. What's the difference? You know, if somebody was doing this to you, you wouldn't remember that. Your thoughts would be maybe to get out of there, get away from there.
Well, there's no question that 2 young boys lied under oath to support their mother's claim that she'd been sexually abused by JCPenney guards. But there are many other things that we brought forward. She was arrested, brought to the police station. We obtained the booking information where she said she didn't have any need for medical attention, didn't have any injuries. We also obtained the booking photos where you didn't see a bruise on her body or a hair out of place. Subsequently, her lawyer filed a lawsuit against JCPenney and with photographs showing bruises all over her body.
Even after the first day, you knew that these people were only after money, and this was the biggest hoax in the world that they were trying to pull.
They put witnesses on the stand to testify under oath of things that never happened, to things that were completely exaggerated and untrue.
I personally believe this Janet Arvizo was provoked by someone. Janet Arvizo is a sick woman, but she has a track history of shaking people down.
The more I looked at a history of welfare fraud, the more I looked at their hustling celebrities to try and get money, the more I put this package together, I have to say I was quite surprised that the prosecutors pinned their hopes on these people.
Sitting in court, listening at all these people lie, people he'd been good to, and all of that, he said he couldn't believe that they were telling all these lies on him. These people must have been paid off to do a lot of this stuff.
I warned him about this family. I warned him about that mother. That mother, I read from a mile away. She had an agenda from day one. Actually, that tape became very important. Most of us felt the same way, that we were looking for his demeanor. How was his body? Was he moving around a lot? Was he nervous? Was he anxious? And he didn't seem to come across of anyone as someone that had been molested. He just looked like someone that was just having fun, like being at a video arcade or something. He didn't seem nervous at all, and we felt that the police were trying to get him to say things that they wanted him to say so they could have that recorded.
Wait, you know how Bashir, you know how Bashir zoomed in on him holding hands? Do that the same thing. Because that's what a mother does with a son, or a father does with a son, and they try to make it out to be something wrong and dirty. Put your back straight.
The hand holding.
Okay.
How did that make you feel?
Oh, we're on camera?
Yeah.
Oh.
We are?
Oh God! This is the outtakes of the outtakes.
After viewing it several times, we felt this isn't scripted.
Well, the jury saw that tape, I believe, 5 times. So they had ample ability to decide whether she looked like she was being coerced and whether everything she said was memorized or scripted. And I think the verdict speaks for itself.
Where are those people when I needed him, when I needed them? And now Michael is there for us, there for all 3 of them.
There was a so-called rebuttal video that was played, a video that the Arvizo family made after the allegations had surfaced, in which they claimed that Michael was, had been a father figure to this family. And they were really adamant about it on this video. And this video existed. And you would have thought that just the fact that this video existed would have been enough for the district attorney to not want to prosecute this case, because eventually we would have to see this video. And all of us would then have to look at this and think, what the heck is going on here? Which is exactly what happened. There was a lynch mob mentality in Santa Maria that extended not only to the police and to the district attorney, but maybe to the media as well. And I remember when we were standing in line to get our press credentials, one of the reporters, a woman who was a very popular reporter in America, pulled herself out of the line. And she said, "Is there anybody standing in this line besides J. Randy Taraborelli who does not believe that Michael Jackson is guilty?"
What had upset me is they were reporting everything that was said about Michael, but they wasn't reporting anything in his defense.
It looked like a feeding frenzy to me. The media were just out to see the world's greatest known celebrity fall to destruction. That's where they thought their ratings in the future would come from, and for me it was really a disgrace.
During the trial, Diane Dimond was the worst person in the world.
Nice to meet you. Your hands are very cold. I didn't say what you thought I said. Just give a message.
I don't understand how these people can run out and lie. They don't even get a chance to find out the truth.
Because the accuser himself is going to testify that a lot of the time he was drunk, frankly, just drunk. 12 and 13 years old, a recovering cancer patient with only one kidney, but drinking a lot of alcohol, and he told the grand jury that there were just things he didn't remember. He seemed to remember 3 other instances of abuse, but he couldn't really pull it out of his head. He said it was like a dream.
Tom Mesro would get there and show it, clean it up and show that this is not true, this is really how it went, but they wouldn't report that. And that went on for months.
When we finally got to see what was being alleged, it just seemed so ridiculous and so far-fetched that I remember one reporter from CNN came over to me after the day that the mother testified, Janet Arvizo, and he said, "I feel so used."
Give the public the impression that Michael Jackson was guilty in 2005 when in fact a jury of 12 people found the man to be completely innocent. You know, the interest of the media in slanting any story is very simple. It's ratings, and we as a public feed that. We are very interested in anybody's dirt, anybody's dirty laundry. If there are allegations to be made, it doesn't matter if they're true or not, they'll be thrown out there by the media, and it can ruin a person's career. So this is something that's become prevalent. It's a huge problem in our society. We do listen to media reports as if they're gospel. In fact, media reports are not gospel. In fact, they are very much driven by a rating system that includes what can we report that is dirty and gritty and nasty. And that's what happened to Michael Jackson in the 2005 trial, and nobody bothered to correct it when the man was exonerated 14 times in a Santa Maria courthouse.
I will say that I am particularly upset by the handling of this mass matter by the incredible, terrible mass media. At every opportunity, the media has dissected and manipulated these allegations to reach their own conclusions.
Were you aware that Jordan Chandler, or his family on his behalf, filed a lawsuit against you?
Yes.
Okay. To your knowledge, Mr. Jackson, were you ever accused of having sexually molested Brett Barnes?
Won't answer that.
Something bad about a child that made me feel really mad.
When you'd have sleepovers and you'd stay in the same room or the same bed, did that seem unusual to you at all?
Because I slept on one side of the bed, he slept on the other, and that was that.
Do you know a person by the name of Macaulay Culkin? No.
Get your answer.
So you're going to let him answer questions about Macaulay Culkin?
Let him answer that one.
To your knowledge, were you ever accused of having sexually molested Macaulay?
That's an instruction not to answer on that one.
I have to say, Chris Tucker and Macaulay Culkin will always go down in my book as loyal, good friends. They had managers and agents and lawyers who didn't want them to get involved, and they both told me that when Michael needs us, we're going to be there. There were other witnesses, people he knew at Neverland who came in to tell the truth. We had a lot of people that rose to his defense.
What's the relationship that you had with Michael Jackson?
Had or have. I mean, it's kind of, you know, whatever.
Let's go with had to
listen,
have.
no, he's a good friend of mine, and he still is. I mean, everything that's going on, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate situation for everyone involved, and, you know,
How did you first get to meet him?
I first met him, he kind of called me randomly, like out of the blue. He just kind of like, hi, it's Michael. I was like, hey. And the thing is,
This was after Home Alone?
This is after Home Alone. I actually had met him before I was doing Nutcracker at Lincoln Center. I was playing Fritz, and he came backstage one day, and I actually met him very briefly. And he kind of recognized me because it was after I'd done Uncle Buck, and so he kind of mentioned something. And then he calls me up kind of out of the blue. It's kind of just this weird random thing. And he was like, why don't you come over to my house? And the thing is, I didn't react to him the way most people did. Most people are like, Michael Jackson. And, you know, I mean, he was a god to people.
And I would walk up to them, strangers, and say, will you be my friend? He'd go, oh my God, Michael Jackson. And it's not what I wanted. I wanted somebody to love me or be my friend for me, or not to see the external me.
To me, he was, you know, I knew he was a pop singer, but beyond that, you know, I wasn't one of the fans. I think that's one of the reasons why we connected, was the fact that, you know, believe me, I call him a jerk all the time. I call him a fathead and this and that, you know, and
your brother knew him too?
Yeah, no, we all did. I mean, he was, you know, a family friend.
What happened at the house? That's what all these things are
You know, that's what's so weird, you know.
What did happen?
Nothing happened, you know, I mean, nothing really. I mean, we played video games, you know, we you know, played it at an amusement park. Well, the thing is with that whole thing, is that, you know, they go, oh, you slept in the same bedroom as him. It's like, I don't think you understand. Michael Jackson's bedroom is 2 stories. And it has like 3 bathrooms and this and that. So when I slept in his bedroom, yeah, but you have to understand the whole scenario. And the thing is with Michael is that he's not very good at explaining himself, and he never really has been, because he's not a very social person. I mean, you're talking about someone who's been sheltered and sheltering himself also for the last like 30 years, or, you know, and so he's not very good at communicating to people, and not very good at conveying what he's actually trying to say to you. And so when he says something like that, you know, people, you know, he doesn't quite understand why people react the way that they do.
Why do you think he likes young people?
It's because it's the same reason why he liked me, was the fact that I didn't care who he was. That was the thing. I talked to him like he was a normal human being. And that's what, and kids do that to him, because he's not, I mean, he's Michael Jackson, a pop singer, but he's not the god of, you know, the king of pop or anything like that. He's just, you know, a guy who's actually very kid-like himself and wants to go out there and wants to play video games with you.
Did your parents encourage it?
They weren't against it. You know, it wasn't like they encouraged it or like pushing me upon it. It was just kind of like I wanted to hang out with him.
And Jesus said to love the children and be like children. Be youthful and be innocent and be pure and honorable. He was talking to his apostles, and they were fighting over who's the greatest among themselves. And he said, whoever humbled yourself like this child is the greatest among you. And he always surrounded himself with children. And that's how I was raised, to believe and to be like that and to imitate that.
Yeah, you know, there's been different times where it'll just be me and Michael. Then there'll be other times where he has other friends over too. That's what, like what Brett said, it's just a slumber party. We just have a lot of fun.
I've been there when these kids have been in Michael's room. I've been there with them. It's just party time. They watch videos, they eat junk food, they play video games. they play so hard, they fall asleep. They're exhausted, they fall asleep.
Now,
There's nothing more to it than that.
From your standpoint, does it seem unusual for a 34-year-old man to have kids sleeping over?
Not when you know Michael's background. Under normal circumstances, possibly yes. But Michael, everybody knows he didn't have a childhood. He impresses on me constantly that it's very important that Wade does have a childhood because he's in the same industry.
Before I washed his hair, we actually knelt down on the ground. And he put his arms around me, and I put my arms around him, and he would put his head right here and weep. And we would pray for God to help us and for people to know the truth. And then we'd get up and wipe our tears, and I would wash his hair.
Do you think he thought he was going to be convicted, Karen?
He didn't know. I mean, it was so vicious. He had to walk the red carpet into that courtroom every day in front of all the cameras. He said during the trial, "I can't believe the world is doing this to me." He said, I gave everything that I had. I gave them my music, I danced for them, and this is what I get in return.
It had to be totally torture. I can imagine what was going on in his mind and his head, you know, and he's not strong in that way at all.
The stress and strain of this 5-month trial took a toll on him. You saw him losing weight. He was having trouble sleeping. I would talk to him at 3, 4, or 5 in the morning, and he would be terrified, particularly about what might happen to his children.
He did need some things to help him fall asleep at night because there was no way he was sleeping with all this stuff going on in his head. I don't know how anyone could sleep.
The thought that you might be found guilty and spend the rest of your life in a jail cell and all your accomplishments washed down the drain. I don't know how he coped. Most people would have taken a gun to their head.
The first day of Gavin's testimony, Michael shows up and he's in pajamas, and he looked like he was in really bad shape. And they had to like help him into the courtroom. From that moment on, everything started to get really awful. You started seeing Michael coming in every day looking like death. It was as if the testimony was just destroying him.
To sit there in court and watch the legal system hurl absurd and vindictive and nasty, mean-spirited allegations at him like this absolutely traumatized him.
For me, and for other people who actually knew Michael, this was a real human being whose life was being destroyed. And every day it just seemed to get worse.
It's sad because I really feel that trial is what really depressed my brother out to the point where he just wasn't happy. He never went back to Neverland.
I will never ever sell Neverland. Neverland is me, you know. It represents the totality of who I am. It really does. I love Neverland.
For Michael not to go to Neverland, he must have been pretty sad. Didn't want to have nothing to do with that place ever again.
I won't live there ever again. I'll visit Neverland. It's a house now. It's not a home anymore. I'll only visit there.
It bothered me because I was wondering how he was feeling and how he was dealing with it. Michael used to always tell me I'd rather slit my own wrist than to hurt a child.
Yeah, I would slit my wrist if I would hurt you.
And here they are trying to accuse me of the thing that I love best, and that's children. Accuse me of molesting them.
The more I looked at the facts, the more I conversed with him, the more ridiculous these charges appeared. He just did not seem like the kind of person that could ever engage in this kind of behavior. They couldn't find any pornography on his computers. They had the FBI test every computer at Neverland. They couldn't find any kiddie pornography. This family began to come up with these allegations of molestation and conspiracy only when they realized that they were on the way out. Do I personally think he had a vendetta against him? I absolutely do. Why else would you devote all that time and energy to trying to convict one person?
It was really up to, and I felt he was a very vindictive person. He really, truly looked like a dead man walking.
It was a tense moment. You know, the entire world stopped to watch what was going to happen to the best-known celebrity, a musical genius, Michael Jackson.
The jury in the above entitled case find the defendant not guilty of conspiracy as charged in count 1 of the indictment.
The verdict was read, and it was not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, all the way down the line, all counts not guilty. And I remember very specifically Michael seeming to not understand. And I remember Tom Snedden looking at Michael for a reaction and not really getting one. And I also remember Tom Mesereau, his lawyer, leaning in and mouthing to Michael Jackson, "You're a free man." I could read his lips because I was so close. And Michael still didn't get it. You felt like it was a triumphant moment, but then when you looked at him, you realized he wasn't there for it. There was nothing you could do. He was so devastated that it had happened that you couldn't even find a place to be happy that it ended the way it did, because it was so devastating that it had occurred at all.
But with just a little love and a little caring, I have seen kids totally turn around where you can't find any cancer at all in their body. I've done it a lot of times. I'm not trying to say I'm Jesus Christ. I'm just saying we just should, you know, give a little more attention to the power of love and caring and faith and prayer.
He would always tell me, "It's over, I don't trust anyone. I don't know why they're doing this to me. They want me dead." He said, "They're going to kill me for what I got."